Today we have actively over 10,000 current CPSMs worldwide, and these range all over the world, and they continue to expand even in the international sites. So U.S. used to be the primary location. No longer are they the only country that really is trying to drive strategic supply management. So we see all 7 continents that are growing in this world. And so what we want to do is continue to provide leading edge capability for the professionals so you can prepare yourself, you can prepare your organizations, and you can prepare your company to be successful into the future. It creates a global network of experts. So you'll start to see, once you have this certification, you're going to have access to not only information that you learned, you're going to have interface with a group of individuals all over the world that you can start to share information. So whether it be through ISM, through your internal websites, through global sites like LinkedIn, you can reach out to other CPSM and find out what are they doing, what are the benchmark information, and try to continue to evolve your organization going forward. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the core competencies that exist within CPSM. And CPSM is made up and comprised of 16 different core competencies. And these competencies take a look at the entire spectrum of anything that can go on in a global supply management environment. We look at business acumen. We need to think about how do we think like our business partners, our stakeholders. How do we drive a business? How do we put the kind of a vice president mindset on? And when we make decisions, how does it align to what the corporation might be doing? So we don't want to go off within supply management and put together a plan and then come to find out that it doesn't align with the core strategic direction that your organization is going. So we need to, start learning different type of techniques to read the environment, to lead the environment, to hire talent, to integrate with others. And you go across and you start to see we have category management, corporate social responsibility. We cover negotiation and legal. We go into risk management. S&OP is one that is relatively new in this version of the exams. We go far deeper than we have in the past because we are starting to realize demand signals continue to fluctuate, and the rate that they are changing, we have to start to figure out how do you have an agile environment or supply chain that can keep up with those changes. And then we'll go through and talk about, systems and the capability and how do you integrate with the planning features. Now, the nice thing about the competencies within CPSM, the new direction that we just went to and we just released the new exams, they're directly aligned to the ISM mastery model. So in 2015, when we brought the mastery model on, it was aligned about 75%. But we got a lot of feedback from individuals saying, I'm confused. So I go off and I work on CPSM or I work on the mastery model, and there's certain topics that aren't covered and others seem to be covered. Why, what am I missing? So we intentionally integrated the two items going forward. So you will be able to see complete transparency whether you're going on CPSM preparation or you're just working through the ISM mastery model. So one of the things we want to do is just kind of talk about unlocking your potential within your career. Why go after a CPSM? Well, a couple things. First and foremost, a lot of times people say, well, it's a lot of work, I'm spending a lot of money, what do I get out of it? And the annual ISM salary survey is showing that we're looking at about a 15% increase when you have a professional certification versus not having a professional certification. And so if you were to look at the 2018 salary survey, I think the median range for income within supply management is about $89,000. With a certification in the CPSM, it bumps it up into the $106,000. So pretty significant increase. And if you go through and you start to look at, okay, the return on investment, if I'm buying books or I'm buying courseware, I'm paying for the exams, return on investment at that price point is a few months. And that's, I think, the thing that we're really trying to get across to people. When you go into this thing, don't go into it trying to nickel and dime the outcome. Think about this strategically. You're going to walk away with a skill set and a knowledge base that is going to make you extremely valuable, whether you stay with your existing organization or make you far more marketable if you look outside of your organization. And we're seeing this trend across all industries. So within career advancement, not only are people growing within because there is a high demand, we see that industries are lacking the ability to find people that really understand what is supply management. So you are able to go in if you have this title behind your name. We're seeing jobs that are in high demand across all different job sites, and they're looking for people with these kind of credentialing. So it is going to help you, again, not where you're just at today, but where you're going into the future. We have global recognition. So we see that this is something that is recognized across the entire geographies. It used to be just U.S.-centric, but we're going forward and we're seeing people within the Asian basin, within the European continent, that are truly looking for people with CPSM. We're seeing emerging markets that are truly trying to pick this up and go after it. So talent management continues to be a significant problem. CAPS Research, it's a research arm of ISM, and it's aligned to Arizona State University. And this is a group that works with chief procurement officers of multi-billion-dollar corporations. And they get together and do different benchmarking. They get together and do different conferences and talk about what are the problems, existing challenges, and opportunities that they see emerging within their companies and within their industries. And a couple common themes continue to come back. One is, of the four latest items, one of the biggest ones is talent management. They can't find enough talent. They can't find people that understand the entire supply chain, understand the concepts and the theories, understand how do you go analyze data and make decisions. So what we're really trying to do is help organizations and help individuals kind of tap into and walk away with a skill set that meets the needs and is going to really help expand the world of supply management. And then the other thing that we have is you're going to walk away with practical expertise. So not only do we just talk about, from a kind of an academic standpoint in concepts and theories, we drive into how do you actually get things done. So if I have to do a financial analysis of a supplier, we'll walk you through the formulas. You're going to be able to take a look at and locate data that will tell a story about a supplier. You can then analyze it. You can start looking at efficiency ratios. You can look at profitability ratios. You can find information that'll tell you the stability, the reliability, and the predictability of an organization. So I truly have to start thinking about this when I'm sourcing. Is it a strong company? Is it a stable company? Part of that goes into risk management. So if I choose them, the more data I have, the more conclusions I can draw. And that's where we really are trying to get into the space of giving the practical experience. Now, the last couple things I want to make clear on this particular chart, and this kind of, again, pulls it back into the bigger picture. Some of the data that comes out from those chief procurement officers through the CAPS research that are pretty profound. So think about corporate revenue that is generated. On average, supply management is responsible for handling about 40 to 45% of the corporation's revenue. And how does that play out? If you're working for a $10 billion corporation, and that's their annual revenue, supply management is sourcing and managing about $4 to $4.5 billion on an annual basis. Very significant, very profound. On average, what we see is the amount of headcount that's allocated within supply management is about 1.8% of the total company. So when you start doing the back of the envelope calculations, you start to see, okay, we're responsible for 40 to 45% of corporate revenue with less than 2% of the company's headcount. I can't just do things tactically. I have to think about things strategically. And the return on investment data that comes out, we're looking across multiple industries, but as an aggregate, it's about 800% return on investment for every supply management dollar spent into what is delivered to the company. And that's because you find ways to leverage the supply chain, leverage the sources, integrate the business, and help business units make better decisions. So we have a significant opportunity to influence, and we find that companies continue to look for the talent, pull them to the table. Getting a seat at the table is always one of the items that's talked about. Yes, it's hard, but when you have data and you have strategy, people are looking for that, and they're thriving to pull you into it. So let's prepare you, and that's, again, one of the benefits that comes out of CPSM. So now we're going to spend a little bit of time just talking about the certification process itself. And very straightforward, it's a simple process. There's 4 basic steps. One thing we want to make sure, are you eligible? And we'll spend a little bit of time talking to that. We'll talk about the different options for preparation. Talk about how do you go schedule an exam. There's a couple different directions in that. And then once we're done, filling out the final application and getting the final certification. So eligibility requirements. We have 2 different items up front. First of all, if you have a bachelor's degree from an accredited university or college, you need 3 years of full-time professional experience. And this is in supply management type of organizations. It doesn't account, it doesn't take into account something that's non-clerical or a support organization. We need you to have basic insight knowledge that you can apply some of these concepts. The second thing, if you don't have a degree, we look for 5 years of full-time professional supply management experience. So those are the 2 first order of items that we want to have you think about. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact ISM at any point just to make sure that the jobs that you have and the roles that you had actually fit some of these requirements. The second thing we want you to do, a number of different ways to prepare for the exam. So we try to craft a portfolio that allows you to kind of tailor it to your particular needs. So we have things that we came up with a new system and we introduced this past year called the learning system. And the learning system itself is a digital platform, and I have a slide coming up here in a bit that'll go into it a little bit further. And in that digital platform, you can utilize it on any device that you have. So whether it be your laptop, desktop, if it's a tablet or if it's a mobile smartphone, you can continue to prepare yourself. We have the study materials that are in a print bundle. So this consists of 7 different books. And in these books, if you have your current CPSM or you're somewhat familiar with it, the terms that come to mind are there are 3 study guides, you have 3 books that are professional series, and then you have 1 book that contains the diagnostic practice exams. So within those 7 books, they're right at about 15 pounds of material. All of that's available to you to prepare. All of that information, though, is inside of the digital platform. And the digital platform contains that, plus it goes into an expansion within the glossary and brings a lot more tools and features to the student themselves. ISM introduced 2 years ago a new process called the guided learning. So you can sign up and do a facilitated online experience. And that goes through, we have an instructor that puts on weekly seminars or webinars, and it's a 5-week course. So we walk you through each of the different modules. We go through different practice tests. We go through key concepts and allow you to kind of, prepare yourself at your own pace. So all 3 of these items are geared to kind of meet your need from a learning style. And one of the last ones, if you're liking to go through a classroom experience, we offer a couple different things. So ISM puts on seminars that are usually a 3-day seminar that can prepare you for the exams. You have a number of different sites, whether they be your affiliate groups or other consultants that can provide that classroom-based type of experience. We also have companies that hire us to come in and put on intact group preparation sessions. So these are customized, whether it be a 1-day session per exam or up to a 3-day session per exam. So we have some companies out there that want to help their students prepare, and they'll give anywhere from 6 to 9 days of in-class preparation, followed by allowing folks to go off and take the exam shortly after. So whatever meets your needs, you have that flexibility. And we really do try to make sure that your experience is going to be optimized and that you can get through and pass all of these exams within a time frame that meets your personal needs, whether it's kind of the life-work balance. So the new digital learning system, this was released in 2018, and it's one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen from a preparation. You purchase a system. It has the ability to customize your study plan based on your couple things. First, when do you want to take the exam? And second, what is your level of knowledge and understanding? So it steps you through, and first thing you do is when you log into this thing, it asks, when do you want to take the test? And you type in a date, and then it says, okay, from this date until when you want to take the test, it sets up a calendar. And then it starts to basically define how much time should you be spending every single day from the moment you start until you take the exam. So it gives you the opportunity to say, here's the daily pace. The second thing that it does is it'll walk you through a practice exam, and it'll actually simulate the experience you're going to go through in the full exam. You'll have, on the first exam, there'll be 180 questions. You'll have the opportunity to complete that in 3 hours. It'll give you an immediate score and an assessment that shows you where you did well and what areas you need to improve. So from that standpoint, it kind of backs things out to say, okay, here's where you're good, here's where you're strong, here's areas that you should focus on a little bit further, It correlates it to when you're going to take the exam, and then it kind of states you should spend anywhere from 20 minutes to maybe 2 hours a day in preparing for this thing. You also have the opportunity, if anywhere you go through this thing, all the information from the study guides are embedded. It also has the ability on individual areas that you want to expand your knowledge to go into the professional series. So that's a textbook that in the past you had to kind of filter through and figure out, okay, where's the particular concept that I want to study further. With this platform, you click a button and the portion of this learn more information. It has features on here around gaming. So we have, create the experience to go through and allow people to kind of have some creative ways to learn. I'm not a gamer, but I was pretty impressed with some of the features that come through on this. And they're somewhat addictive, right? You kind of start through, going through there, and before you know it, you're actually learning more information, and it's testing in a different way. And then within the platform itself, you can go through and bookmark, you can highlight, you can make notes. All of this is done with the platform or the device that you choose to move forward with. So if you're on, traveling and you want to study while you're on the plane, whether you have your laptop or your cell phone, you can do that. So you can meet the need, study anytime, anywhere, and prepare yourself. There is a video that is on the ISM website that gives you a little bit more information. Also, you're going to be seeing some additional information coming out with kind of a walking you through the experience with subsections of that video, and our marketing organization will be getting those sent out. So the exam itself, we started revamping the exam. In the process is a 2 to 3 year process. So we started looking at in 2016 saying what is the current direction and the future direction of supply management, and we start analyzing where things are going and what information do we prepare students for today. In that gap analysis, we come up with new information or revised information, and then we align that to the exams. Not only do we release new exams, we also rewrite the content that prepare you for them. So, we had a question earlier around, are the study guides and professional series books that were published in the past, are they still relevant? The concepts are pretty solid, but the relevancy of what is new is driving folks to, I highly recommend you get the new material. And this isn't about just ISM trying to sell you information or sell you more books. This is about making sure that you're prepared to sit down and go through that exam, and that you have the latest information and the latest concepts that are going to be embedded in the questions that are on the exam. So trying to work through old material to prepare yourself, not recommended. So on the 3 exams, we are moving away from calling them Exam 1, Exam 2, and Exam 3. We're going with the titles. And the reason being is we don't care what order you take them. You don't have to go through the first exam and go into then the second exam. You can pick and choose where you're at, what exam you want to go after, and what you might be the best fit for you on the first go around. So we have supply management core, which the competencies that are embedded are more of your foundational supply management, things from sourcing into your supplier relationship management. We do a lot of cost and pricing. And we've actually split out the financial analysis this year. So before we used to kind of lump them in, and now what we're really trying to show is there are unique differences in what you do in a cost and price management program, and then what you need to do to integrate into the financials that are aligned to not only your company, but the suppliers themselves. It's a 3-hour exam. This happens to be the longest exam of the 3. 180 questions, 1 minute per question. The second exam gets into a little bit more. Now we're going to, we understand kind of the core concepts. Now we want to think about the ecosystem in which they integrate. So we're looking at coming up with strategy. We spend time going into S&OP, sales and operations planning. We get into more logistics and materials management, because these are challenges that we have when you source something international. How do you get it? How do you stock it? How do you inventory? What are issues within quality? And then we try to step back into allowing you to get project management skills. 165 questions, 2 hours, 45 minutes. And then the third exam, and the what I'd say the last, but again, doesn't matter the order, is around transformation in the leadership of supply management. So this has you thinking about, from a larger enterprise, how do I come up with strategies that align to the corporation? How am I a leader? How do I create vision, mission, strategy? How do I engage stakeholders, both internal and external? How do I grow my talent and organization? I start thinking and looking more at, what kind of technology do I need to come up with and integrate? What are the risk issues? What are the compliance issues within supply management? And then we talk at depth within the corporate social responsibility and ethics. And we see examples all the time where these are violated, and there's significant implications to corporations that can be prevented. So if we are doing our job, we're going to get ahead of some of these problems and actually make a difference. And so we get into this particular exam is 165 questions, 2 hours and 45 minutes. So that's kind of it in a nutshell of what you need to do to prepare and pass these 3 exams. From that standpoint, you go into and you register. You have to find a location to take the exams. So on our website, there are a couple links that allow you to register for the exam. It'll then tell you where are the sites located, and this is through Pearson VUE. And these are testing sites that are all around the world. They are secure sites that are contracted as a third party that ISM works with, and they actually not only test for ISM, but they allow other testing, whether it be for nursing and real estate. They are truly the professionals in creating the experience and making sure that it's secure, making sure that there's no cheating that's going on. And you can find what are the sites that are nearest to you. Some of your companies are actually going to have you test on site. That's an option. So if you're in a group setting and your company can set up enough individuals and bring in a proctor, you can actually go through the testing on site. And then last, once you've gone through and have completed this and have passed all 3 exams, how do you get the final application? Well, you just go onto our website. There's an online application, and you pay your fees. And generally within a few weeks, so this ranges if there's an expedite fee that you can get things turned around within 1 to 2 weeks, or the natural process is about, I think, 3 to 5 weeks. And that's just because of the volume of people that are certifying and our ability to kind of make sure that we do all of the due diligence. We ensure that the individuals are meeting all the criteria and that we get the certification and the certificate sent out to you. To maintain your certification, 60 continuous hours, education hours per year, or per 3 years. It's 20 per year. And what you can do is you can get continuing education hours a number of different ways. Just being an ISM member gives you 3 continuing education hours per year. You can go get your CPSD, take 1 additional exam, 2 hours long, and that will provide you significant amount of CEHs. You can go to our conferences or different events, or you can take online courses, whether it's through ISM, or you can take other courses, whether it's through your company or any other supply management organization. Our goal is to have you continue to advance your profession, stay current with the information as it's going forward, and maintain kind of that leading edge capability. And with that, I'd like to